back. You should be able to hear me. What's going on, everybody? Um, welcome, welcome. Foolish Finance Fridays. You already know what it is. It's the foolish things that I can find. It's the foolish things that you all have given me content for. Just foolishness. We won't be having a show tomorrow. I know I ain't gonna be able to squeeze a show in tomorrow. However, because of that, I'm gonna make this as petty and as foolish as I can tonight. Um, I do have some announcements, and I'll get to those in a minute. Crystal, I was just getting ready to talk about you. I really was. This Crystal, we had a conversation earlier, and Crystal was like, "This show gives me heart palpitations," and I don't try to give you heart palpitations. I try to get your heart to start. That's what I really be trying to do. I want your heart to start. That's really what I wanted to do. For those that caught Foolish Finance Fridays last week, we did discuss the it's one of the Reddit threads, am I the a-hole? And in this one, the guy was married to the lady for 10 years and cheated on her, this, that, and other. And so there was an actual follow-up to that particular story that I covered on the in the after hour section. And so you all gotta you all got if you didn't show up to the petty tea time, the follow up to that story is juicy. So long story short, let me give you the follow up. I'm just gonna summarize it. Long story short, he was cheating as we suspected. Anytime a man tell you I'm looking, I somebody else caught my eye at work or people are interested in me, that's a telltale sign that you already have crossed the line. I'm just forewarning you that I've already crossed the line. You figure out what you're gonna do. So financial abuse Fridays. uh so long story short, he ended up cheating on her. He ended up getting the woman that he was cheating her with was younger. Let me back up. He told her, but he told her even after she made the adjustments, she went and got flowers, she made him some lobster, she did all this stuff, and the whole nine. And then he came back and told her, he said, "Thanks." And she was like, "What do you mean, thanks?" He was like, "Because you were a virgin when I met you." Now, they've been married for 10 years. "Because you were a virgin when I met you, you were a low value woman when I married you. You got making up to do." That's what he told his wife after he'd been married to her for 10 years. That she was a low value woman, and because she wasn't a virgin when they met, that she had some making up to do. Then on top of that, um he he turned around and uh got the young chick who was 24 pregnant, and she was like this hot finance person at the job, some type of prodigy, whatever. Anyway, he ended up getting her pregnant and moved into the apartment with her. Little did uh little did he know that his wife, his current wife, had been stacking her chips and stuff like that. So he really hadn't had no chips stacked up. So it's I don't know yeah, that's a verified story. That's a verified story. So long story short, the foolishness in that financially is the fact that they've been together married for 10 years. So now, let's say Social Security time comes up, she gets access to his Social Security. Great. Um, I don't know what state they were in, but she could be, if he makes more than her, she could ask for alimony. she could ask for alimony, right? The only downfall is they had moved into her grandmother's house. And so if it wasn't in a prenup and he did some upgrades or he contributed to some upgrades in that house, he could go after the house, right? So I'm just giving you all things that to think about. And a lot of people like tell me I'm trying to ruin marriage. I'm not trying to ruin marriage. I'm just trying to tell you what could happen. And so if you know better, you do better. Put your house in a trust. Put 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 your stocks, your brokerage account in a trust before you get married. That's all I'm saying. No estate, no date. You all are worried about what's gonna happen to your stuff when you get married, or somebody taking half of your stuff. No estate, no date. Put your stuff up in a trust. Utilize the laws that have already been written. Men, y'all created these laws. Use them. Why you don't use them? Ladies, men created these laws. Use them to the best of your advantage. That's all I'm saying. That's it. That's it. You don't have to run around here being scared about somebody taking your stuff. So you refuse to fall in love. So you refuse to get married. So you refuse to date. So you refuse to do all these things because of the fear of the things that you have built up when there are laws that protect them. I don't understand why you wouldn't utilize those things. Utilize them. That's it. And then you don't have to be on Reddit saying, "Am I the a hole?" You don't have to do that. Cool. All right. So last Saturday, we talked about high performers and above average, right? Or above average and high performers. And I said, I showed you the bell curve in which I'm talking about. And I'm going to reiterate that this week, tonight, and then we're going to get into some foolish finance Fridays. However, I'm going to reiterate some things about um so what are high performers, what are some top, I think it's top 9 or top 10 things that high performers have. But we're going to talk about some money first because it's a foolish finance Friday, and we're not going to have a show tomorrow, so I'm kind of combining things in all into one, right? All right. So let me pull this up. Okay. So here we go. You should be able to see this bell curve here, right? All right. So remember before we say average earners, they fall in the middle. And then on the left hand side of here, down here, is what they call below average and low, I guess below average and low earning potential. Little to no earning potential down here on the left hand side. And for people who come here, and for everyone everything that I'm talking about over here. I'm talking about the top 20%. I'm talking people who are above average and high performers. Why am I talking about that? Well, I'm gonna give you some numbers as to why I am talking about that. All right. I'm gonna give you some numbers so you can put these things together. The conversations about this 45,000, I look at it like that's over here because the national average is 70,000, right? And that's over here. That 45,000 conversation is little, doesn't it doesn't it shouldn't even cross your mind. That should not be the conversation you want to even be in. You shouldn't even want to be in that room. This room over here, everybody on there. Remember, I pulled up the train on the way to Mumbai, and I told you that's what y'all all look like sitting over there on that train to Mumbai. Let me, in case you forgot, let me pull it up for you. No sound needed. Um, uh, getting on. Let me pull that up. Let me see. Videos. Let's click on videos. I wish I had still. Oh, here you go, right here. This what y'all be looking like to me. Let me when y'all having this conversation, turn the sound off in my ears. But this is what y'all be looking like to me talking about that $45,000 conversation. This what it looked like to me. Right? The train is coming in and then watch the people try to get on the train. I need to find the one with the women. I need to find the one with the women. But this is what y'all be sounding like to me. Like, now watch this. Look at it. Look at this. Look at this. Y'all this conversation just over here. Look at this. Trying to get on the train. Y'all all trying to get into this 45,000 conversation. Like, you you get 45,000 and you get 45,000. You got people got their elbows all in your neck, their armpits. You don't know if they got on deodorant or not. You don't know if they brushed their teeth. They just rolled out of bed. Just it's just all kind of chaos here. Crystal, this should give you anxiety. This should give you anxiety. This is the $45,000 conversation, right? And I you put the $70,000 conversation in there. This is what it sounds like to me, right? You don't have no room. You can't breathe, right? So when we're having our conversation, we riding on the luxury train. Have y'all seen the luxury train? Let's see. Let's go look at the luxury train rides. Let's look at some videos of the luxury train. A little 42 seconds. Let's see what it looks like. It's through the Grand Canyon, the Napa wine country. That's not luxury. That's not the luxury I'm used to looking at. Amtrak has some, but there's another one that they have where they got the car. You got a whole nice little ride. They got fine dining on the train. They got the showers, the whole nine. You want to do the luxury ride. Let me see if I can find one here. Let's scroll through. Oh yeah, I remember this. Got some seats on here. Now this one goes through Colorado. I remember looking at this video because I was thinking about taking a ride. I was thinking about getting on this train and taking this ride. Um, and I think it goes through some different towns and stuff like that. You get your little breakfast. Look, we're sitting down, we're eating. You got a couple of stops. You know, just a nice little sunny day. You know, relaxing. Not a whole bunch of people standing on top of you or eating on your shoulders, right? That's what I like. All right, so 9 traits of high performers, right? 9 traits of high performers. We're again the bell curve. High performers above average. High performers above average. All right. So, what are high performers? Now, where am I getting this from? Well, it originally started with the Dora report. And the Dora report actually talks about, and this kind of goes into DevOps, but it talks about high performance teams and above average teams. Your high performance teams, the reason why you see these numbers coming out from Netflix at 900,000, excuse me, for salary, 1.2 million for salary, Selby Jennings for 1 million for a salary, 2 million for a salary. The reason why you see that is because they're looking. They have a target person that they're looking for, and they're looking for people who are high performers. And then if you come down to 500, they'll be above average. But they're looking for those people, and in order to be those people, you need to know what they're looking for, not just in skill set, but in what is a high performer. So you can earn that as a base. I'm not talking about as a total comp. I'm not talking about you make 500,000 and then a million in stock, or 500 or 300,000 and then 700,000 in stock. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just straight base. All right. So let's look at high performance, high 9 traits of high performers, right? All right, so let's go. All right. And let me blow this up a little bit more here. I'm not going to read the top. I'm just going to read off the traits here, right? Let's talk about this. What makes someone a high performer? Now, let me caveat this. For those of you that feel like this is a lot of pressure, or you're trying to push this narrative, no, I'm not pushing a narrative. And if this is too much for you, then don't do it, right? I'm just showing you what it is, how to get there, and what the reward is after you get there, right? So you pick and choose how you want to do this, right? So let's go. A high performer is someone who goes above and beyond to achieve their goals and complete their tasks or assignments at work. This type of person takes initiative and focuses on improving their workplace habits and behaviors so that the company or the team benefits from their actions. They're considerate team players, and their superiors and colleagues can count on them and often take on more work and leadership tasks than their roles require. So I'm gonna stop right there and read that last sentence. They're considerate team players, and their superiors and colleagues can count on them and often take on more work and leadership tasks than their roles require. If you are that person and you're going to do that, you should be compensated for that. Do not do that if you're not receiving the compensation. It does it. You're just going to make yourself mad. And I'm just being honest. You're going to be like, man, I should be compensated from this, and I'm getting paid 90,000, and you're in your head like I'm really doing everything for the team, and then they hit you with a $75 gift card and maybe $1,000 in pay increase, or a $5,000 pay increase in your salary, and you like, I did all that work for nothing. That's why I tell you, get your money up front. You need to get your money. You need to have your use your voice, use your network to get your money up front before that. If you're not gonna get your money up front, and you waiting on somebody to give you something, or you waiting on somebody to promise you something in a vocal manner, or they write it down in black and white, and then the person leave, and the other person who come in don't acknowledge it, or they don't say anything, you just screwing yourself over. Get your money up front. Be proactive about your life. Be proactive about your end result, right? Be proactive, right? It says what makes for a high performer. All right. In a Indeed survey conducted by Decipher and Focus Vision, employers were asked what attribute their high performance exemplified. Then there's a Dora report out there that talks about high performers and then high performance teams. I'm just summarizing. I'm just taking this article, but there's a little bit more in depth, and I didn't want to do that tonight because I'm saving it for petty tea. Right. Problem solving. I tell you time and time again, be the solution. Understand how to solve problems. Understand what the problem is. How do you get information from the customer? How do you summarize that, right? So the ability to define the problem and determine and I mean then determine and implement a solution. Be the solution. What does that customer need? What's the immediate need of that customer? How can you solve that problem? Who do you have in your network that can help you solve that problem? Maybe you don't know how to do it. Maybe you can reach out to somebody that can help you solve that problem. Maybe you collaborate with different team members to solve that problem, right? Communication. Some of you all don't like to use all the forms of communication. There is vocal communication, there is email, there are meetings, there's Slack, there is Discord, there are diagrams, PowerPoint slides, videos, smoke signals, anything, right? Come up with a way to communicate your value. You need to be able to communicate your value, but you also need to be able to communicate to the customer and what the situation is. All right, self-direction. No one needs to tell you to get started. You're going to get started cuz you see there's a problem. You're going to identify the problem, and then you're going to do the self-direction, right? So, number 1, problem solver, number 2, communication and self-direction. A self-starter, someone who initiates new assignments and challenges. Drive. What is your drive? Do you all have drive? Like, do you have drive, right? The desire to succeed goes above and beyond what is asked of them. Do you have drive when you're studying? Do you have drive to learn from others? Do you have drive to teach others? Do you have your own, do you have your own drive, right? Do you have that oomph in you to say, you know what? I see that's going to be a problem down the pipeline. Let me go ahead and make some tickets and then go from there. All right. Adaptability and flexibility. The ability to be flexible in a changing environment. You may start one way on your journey and you may have to pivot. And your pivot may have to pivot. And your pivot that had to pivot may pivot and then you may have to pivot again. But it's okay. It's okay. You're still going forward as long as you're pivot and moving forward. Fail fast. Pivot, fail fast, right? Fail fast, pivot, do your analysis, pivot, do your analysis, pivot. It's okay. Always moving forward, right? Always moving forward. All right. It says right here, and it's kind of blurry on the screen here. It says, thinking about top performers you currently work with or have worked with in the past, what qualities or attributes that those top performers have? Problem solving was 75%, communication was 65%, self-direction 64%, drive 61, adaptability and flexibility 59%, passion, strategic thinking, initiative, collaboration, coachability, ownership, and intellectual curiosity. Right, and that's the order it is in too. Problem solving. I tell you, I try to get you all to understand. Be the solution. Do problem solving. Right. Do your problem solving. All right. It says, why is retaining high performers important? High performers are better for business because they tend to drive a disproportional amount of impact in the workplace. In fact, one study found that 10% of the productivity comes from the top 1% of his employees, and 20% of the output is a product of the top 5%. The same study found that top performers tend to be 4 times as productive as the average worker. High performing employees also impact the company's culture. They impact the company's culture as they are more likely to choose a new job based on a company's reputation and opportunities for meaningful work. 9 qualities for high performers. Here are 9 qualities and attributes of people who perform well in the workplace. Focus on their goals. Focus on their goals. Keeps a positive demeanor, right? Every time you tell me something, I'm just be like, okay, we can do that, or I'll figure out how we can do that. Let me analyze the situation. Let me come up with that, right? Next one shows consistent effort. Consistent effort. You can, if you are consistent with your studying, if you're consistent with your communication, if you're consistent with your networking, if you're consistent with building your skills, you're gonna always see some type of result. You're gonna see some type of result. You can't tell me that that's not gonna happen. I don't believe it. You got to trick me and tell me that don't happen, right? Has a strong skill set. Your skill sets are intangible assets. Your skill sets are intangible assets. You're working on them now and they pay off later. Your skill sets are intangible assets, right? Accepts constructive criticism. Hey, I think you could have did this a little better. Here is whatever, whatever, whatever. And you know the person that you're talking to. You know if they're super sensitive or they could just take a joke, or you know who the people that you're talking to, right? And so and this is another thing. This is why I tell y'all to go to Toastmasters. So you can learn how to communicate. You can learn how to use inflection and tone. Remember we looked over Chris Doe and we talked about tone, and we talked about the tone in your voice and how to project, when to project, and so forth. These things help you out. These things help you out. 6, looks for professional growth opportunities. No one's just gonna drop things in your plate sometimes. Sometimes they will, but most of the time they not. You gotta go seek those things out. You gotta when people close when the doors is closed, you go open it. And you go sit right down in the room, be like, what y'all talking about? What you doing? That's how you get in, right? And here they have some other stuff. Here's a list of 7 things people can do to grow and develop professionally. Find a mentor, read book, enroll in webinars and seminars. Things I say. Participate in a workshop. Create a workshop. Create a workshop. Earn an in demand certificate. Ask for feedback. Number 7, respect to all other people. Acts like a leader. Number 9, finds a healthy work life balance. That's going to be hard because sometimes your work life balance is work. Sometimes you study and you're trying to increase your skill set, and that's your playtime, right? But here on Foolish Finance Fridays, I hope we're part of your work life balance. Oh, we're part of your work life balance. And last but not least, tips for becoming a high performer at work. Here's some useful tips that you can use to become a high performer at work. Give yourself a performance review. But I say this, before you give yourself a review, you should be writing down everything that you do at work. Every day, you should keep a daily journal of everything you accomplished that day at work. It just got to just quick little notes in a book. Make sure you date it and make sure you put the time in there so you be consistent with when you do it. If you do it early in the morning or you do it in later in the afternoon, keep you a daily journal of what you've done, what you've accomplished, the meetings that you've had with people. Write that. Keep you a daily running log of that. Right. Setting personal performance goals. Organize your workplace, clean, prioritize, categorize, and plan. Align personal and professional behaviors. Think about your personal behaviors and actions outside of work. Take some time to reflect honestly on whether your actions and habits in your personal life help or hinder your professional life. You can't go out and stay drinking to 3 o'clock in the morning and then expect to be up at 6 and then go to work and be a high performer. You used to could do that, but you can't do that now. You can't. After a while, it just takes a toll on you, right? Set your alarm, choosing healthier meals, staying hydrated, getting adequate and regular sleep, making positive connection with friends and family, finding an enjoyable hobby or activity, getting regular exercise, and this the most important right here, practicing self-love. How many of y'all out there, put a 1 in the chat if you practice self-love, or put a 2 if you have no idea and never do it. Put a 1 in the chat. It's okay if you don't do it. You can start. You can start practicing self-love. Practice self-love, right? Practice better communication. Limit your distractions, right? I was reading, someone broke down distractions like this is no or none, and traction is movement. So distractions is no movement. No movement forward. No movement for you. You're stuck. You're not going anywhere. So limit things that have no forward progress, no movement forward, no positive interaction, no positive display. Limit those discussions, limit those people, limit their time. I say you got to cut them all the way off. Sometimes you just have to be like, today I'm giving you 15 minutes. After that, you're cut off. We're going to have to move on, right? Reward yourself for a job well done. That could be a Snickers and a Coke. That could be a Snickers and a Coke, right? And then they go into how can companies recruit high performers and so forth. I won't go into this more. I just wanted to give you that. Now, let's get to the money because you're like, Tamika, I thought you said you was going to talk about the money. I am. Let's talk about it here. All right, so this I was on Financial Samurai. One of my faves. Let me blow this up. It says, how much money do you think top income earners make? Now, remember, we're talking about high performers and we're talking about above average. I don't know why it takes so long for this to blow up, but it's okay. It says, have you ever wondered how much money do the top income earners make? Once you know how much the top income earners make, you can then better shoot to be at the top income earner yourself. Now, this is just average. This is not This is not by state. This is not by states. This is just on an average, right? After all, everything is relative when it comes to money. Americans are rich by world standards, with the median household roughly at 76,000, not 45. America consistently ranks in the top 20 richest countries in the world. Many of the world's top income earners live right here in our great country. Remember, the U.S. makes 1,700 millionaires a day. 1,700 millionaires a day. 7 days a week, they got 1,700 millionaires that get created every day, right? Other countries that have a higher GDP per capita than America include Liechtenstein, Qatar, Monaco, I guess Marseille or Macau, Luxembourg, Bermuda, Singapore, Isle of Man, Brunei, Ireland, Norway, the Falkland Islands, UAB, St. Martin, Kuwait, and Gibraltar. Countries with similar GDP per capita to America include Hong Kong, Switzerland, and Saudi Arabia, right? If at birth you had a mental capacity to choose where you would like to live for the most part of your life, living in the top 20 richest countries will more than likely help you become a top earner as well. All right. So let's look at what the top earners are. When we talk about top earners, we're talking about above average and high performers. The 1%, 5%, 10%, 25%, and 50%. Now, you figure out where you fall at when you see this list. Let's go. And this comes from based on the Internal Revenue Database. All right. So here we go. And let me show you when this article was made. This article was made 8/1 of 2023. We're on 8/4. So this is 8/1. All right. So top 50% is around 40,000. The top 25% is from 67,000 to 80,000, and then the top 10% is 130,000. And if you hit the top 5%, it's 180,000. I'm trying to get you to 200, so you're going to fall in the top 3%, right? And then the top 1% is 500 plus. 500 plus. So if we go back to our bell curve, right? We want people. I want you to be at the 200,000 mark. And it's a reason for that. So you can be an accredited investor, so you can invest in opportunities, so you can invest in opportunities that are deals that don't necessarily be online or on or on Crowd Street or what have you, even though you can use Crowd Street to invest, but that's not what I'm talking about, right? So 180,000 is your top 5, and then your 100, and then 500,000, right? And we fall, the 200,000 fall right in between it. So about the 3%, the top 3%. The rich have gotten richer during the pandemic. Therefore, the top income earners are making even more than ever before. Sadly, the wealth gap has widened as we continue through our K-shaped recovery. Right? We want the top 1 to 3, and so they talk about it in here, right? What that top 5%, how many people are falling in that category right here. The bottom 50%, 70 million people, right? Right. That's probably, I think this is the people, a positive AGI. 70 million. Yeah, all taxpayers, right? All taxpayers. Right. So we want to be in this right here. I even take the top 10. I'll even take top 10, 130 and up. I even take top 10. Yeah, top is, yeah, 3%. That's what we're aiming for. And we talked about high performers. We talked about how to get there. You've seen the roadmaps. You understand how to invest and divide your funds up. What are we talking about? Why we are having arguments about money? You shouldn't be having these arguments. All right. All right. So that's that one. So we got the traits of high performer. We understand where high performers come from. The high performers and high performers of on teams and individual high performers. All right. We talked about this bell curve here. It's what we showed here. Right. They got top 20%. I'm even further out here. I'm pushing. I'm your pusher. Right. I'm your pusher. All right. So I found this right here. The 50 highest paying companies for software engineers. Are y'all ready for these numbers? Put a one in the chat and get my likes up. What's going on with my likes? Get my likes up. Don't forget to subscribe. Get my likes up. Right? Which link? Which link? Uh Here I'll drop it in Slack. I'm putting it in Slack right now. I'll put it in jobs. All right. So let's get back to it. It's already dropped in jobs. Let's go. All right. OpenAI, the fastest growing artificial intelligence startup behind ChatGPT, tops the list from levels FYI with a median total compensation of nearly $1 million for its software engineers. See who made the list. Let's go. I'm not going to read all that. We're going to keep it pushing because I want you to see the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. That's what we're going to do today. Let's see. Come on, numbers. I mean, come on. It won't blow up anymore. Yeah, it's not blowing up anymore for me. I just have to read it off to you. I think you can see. It looks like you can see it. OpenAI, 925,000. PDT partners. I had some positions that I interviewed for with PDT partners. I got 2 interviews and then I ain't hear nothing else. But let me see if I can find job that job. Let's see. There's PDT partners. Like I said, I thought it went well. That's what I even said in my email. Let's see. Anna Flynn. Let's see. She's with the Venturi Group. All right, yeah, PDT Partners. Let me see if I can find the job. Mm, I'm looking. Hold on. I'm just trying to find a job. It was a DevOps job. Yep, it was a DevOps job. It was a DevOps job. Um, and it was to be working with PDT partners. Um, it was some work with the New York Times, Federal Home Loan Bank, Equinox, Blink Health, and Cargo, and somebody else. But that's what it was. But it was a DevOps job with PDT partners. So PDT partners 650,000. Clubhouse 566. Vatic Investments 500,000. TSG Management 500. Netflix 480. Cruise Snowflake around 475. I'll give a take there. Jane Street. Jane Street 456. Coupang 440. Stripe 431. The Citadel. OpenSea, Airbnb, Rippling, Databricks, Coinbase, Roblox, StubHub, Our Street, Radix Trading, Old Mission, Hudson River Trading. These are companies that y'all all should go be looking for jobs at them. Go look for jobs at them. The lowest job is 316 on average. The highest job is 925 on average at OpenAI. Right? at OpenAI. DoorDash 350, Uber 335, Discord, Brex, Credit Karma, Mercury. Go look at these jobs. Go look and see what they got. Um, Go see if they got customer success, sales teams, whatever the case may be. Right? Whatever the case may be. So it says, I'm gonna go back up here. The amount, let's see, OpenAI, which is led by Sam Altman, pays its software engineers 925 in total compensation, according to Levels FYI. That amount combines 300,000 in salary and 625 in stock. The sum is almost 300,000 more than the reported median at hedge fund PDT Partners, which ranks second at 650,000. Clubhouse comes in third at 566. Right? So you should be looking at these. Right? All right. Now, this what I found interesting here because a lot of people sleep on Walmart. Walmart is named the world's largest corporation by Fortune, with Saudi Aramco, Amazon, and Apple also in the top 10. Walmart is named the world's largest corporation. You would thought it was Amazon, but it's not. It's Walmart, the world's largest corporation, right? And their IT work is done out of Bentonville with Walmart Labs. Um, It says Walmart has topped the list of the world's largest companies by revenue for the 10th consecutive year with sales of $611.3 billion in 2022. The Fortune Global 500 list released on Wednesday included tech giants such as Apple, Amazon in the top 10, alongside energy conglomerates such as Saudi Aramco and ExxonMobil. The rankings are based on the annual revenue rather than the other methods of measuring the company's size, such as the market capitalization or book value. All right. And here's the top 500 list. Here's another way to look up jobs. What else should you be doing if you're looking at jobs and these companies are globally in the top 500? What else should you be looking at? You should be looking at their stocks. You should be looking at what they closed at. You should be looking at what they're investing in. You should be looking at their plans. You should grab a prospectus on these companies. You should be looking at these companies to see what they're doing, how they're moving, what they're doing with AI, what location are they, what locate where their headquarters is at, where they're opening up new locations. This is how you stay ahead of the curve. This is how you be a high performer. This is how you get yourself out there and start networking, right? So let's look at this. We got Walmart, we got Saudi Aramco, we got State Grid, which is out of China, Amazon, China National Petroleum, Sinopec, ExxonMobil, Apple, Shell, and United Health Group. And United Health Group. And these companies are in the billions, right? It says, in addition to Exxon being number 7 spot, Chinese companies China National Petroleum and Sinopec were ranked 5 and 6 respectively, with the British oil giant Shell ranked at number 9. Have y'all ever thought about working for Shell? Well, let's go. Let's go look at Shell. RZA Shell. Whatever. All right. So now let's hop down here. Collaborate with experienced employees. Why choose Shell? Hear stories. That's not what I want. I think it's back at the top. Let me scroll back up. Let's go here. Now let's see if it's gonna break it down for me. Reject all. Yes. All right. Skill group. Let's blow this up. You can go under business administration. Let me go back. Business administration. Click on that. You can go under discipline engineering. They have graduate programs. They got information technology, information and data, process engineering, projects, real estate research, trading jobs, technical support jobs, research and development wells. Okay. So I did three: discipline, information and data, and then information technology. And we can see here senior solution architect in England. Some of y'all want to go international, like you want to work globally. Why not get a job with a company that's global, work it for a year, and then transition into a global position somewhere else? Let the company pay for your travel, let the company pay for your time in that global position. You know, that's how you do it. What's going on, Levette Waits? Thank you for coming and being a 100K earner. Thank you for being a 100K earner. Shout out to all our earners. Senior solution architect, um, senior manager, ITIL, senior team lead, transformational change consultant. Go look that up. What is a transformational change consultant? Go look that up, right? Associate engineer, senior solution architect, data engineer, Azure, business analyst, LNG trading, senior functional analyst, JVA, senior naval architect, software engineer, and DevOps, and it's 9 more pages. I just did a filter, and it's 9 more pages, right? 9 more pages. Happy Friday. What's going on, Natasha? Senior Security Compliance Advisor, a technical consultant, AB, a securities compliance advisor, IT and digital strategy consultant. And this is in South Holland, right? These jobs are international around the world because Shell is international, it is around the world. They're based in the US and everywhere else. Find the companies that are international that could take you and leverage your skill set from one country to another country. This is how you do it in IT. This is how you get around for free. This is how you go work for somewhere for free. If you want to live in Paris, find a job, find a company that has some roots in Paris that are based in the US. They may own a company, like they may own a little subsidiary, and then you go international for free, right? All right. Let me pull up my other one. All right. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to work backwards, and then we're going to get into Foolish Finance Friday. Maybe or not. Let's go here first. And then we're going to lead into it. We'll do that. All right. Commercial real estate loans are the biggest risk for lenders. See the top 20 banks with the most property debt exposure from JP Chase Morgan to Wells Fargo. Why am I mentioning this? All right. We saw that some banks were needed to be bailed out, right? And y'all keep wondering why people keep wanting you to go back into the office because they've signed these leases for 5 to 10 years. Who the hell is gonna have these leases for 5 to 10 years and you sit at home? No, they want you in the office. That's why they want you in the office. Because if commercial real estate fails, then the banks are gonna fail. Then we really gonna have some problems, right? We really gonna have some problems. We can't have you failing. Casual economist, salute to you too, sir. Salute to you too. All right, so I'm gonna pause right here because I do have an announcement. I do have an announcement. We want to give a grandiose. I don't know where D at with the music. She should have some claps or something. We want to give a grandiose shout out to Natasha Stevens for her accomplishment this week. She made it to the top 3%. She in the top 3%. If y'all don't come to the meetups, come in here. It's fun. This is fun shit. Nah, not that, not that deep. We need claps. Let's make a clap. Not that deep. We give me that. Yeah, I take that. Make it clap. Want to give you a shout out, Natasha. I know it's been a thing for you. I know it is. I know. Yeah, D don't want to. D don't want to hook us up with the real music, right? That's all right. Natasha, we'll do it after hours. I'll hook that up for you. Natasha, congratulations for making it to the top 3%. You know, execution, following the blueprint and executing. Stay on it. Stay on it. We're going to stay on it. Stay on it. And don't let nobody look. You already know how I feel about having conversations, right, with people that don't that be over here on that other side trying to get on that train to Mumbai. I ain't on that train. We don't do that train. That train that train stank. With the elbows in your face, your armpits in there, breath not teeth not breath washed, brush, face not use. No, we don't want none of that. We don't want that. We don't want that. Too many people. As D would say, it's COVID. It's COVID. All right. So back to this. All right. So commercial real estate loans are the next big risk for lenders. See the top 20 banks with the most property debt and exposure. Why am I bringing this to you? All right. So we always want to talk about making the money, but we got to protect our money. We got to protect our money. We got to protect our assets. Another thing, I talk about this all the time. For those of you that work with your hands and work with your mind, you need to have some type of insurance on your hands. You work with them. You get your hand caught in the door, or you try to brace yourself for a fall or something like that. You need some type of protection on your hands, right, and your mind, right. This is goes back to that last little bit about self care, self love, self care, self love, right? Protecting those intangible assets. These are things that you need to protect. That those things make you money. Those things make you money, right? You know, somebody try to break your hand when your hand shake. You like, hey, back up, bruh. I need that hand. Unless you gonna pay for my disability. Nah, this is like Lords of London. Like the $1 million that Beyonce got on her leg. She may have more, but I know for a fact that what you call it had 1 million on hers. Tina Turner, right? Those things. The other one is when we'll talk about this. I'll talk about this another time. Disability insurance, not at work. You can have what you have at work, but I'm talking about disability insurance outside of work. Suppose you lose your job, or whatnot. When you lose your job, your disability insurance disappears when you lose your job. So how do you protect yourself outside of work, right? Always about protecting yourself outside of work, protecting your assets. You got to protect yourself. So again, what happens if one of these banks fail? How are you going to have where are you going to have your money placed at in case these things fail? That's why I talked about Betterment. I think it was Betterment and M1 Finance, where their FDIC insured up to 1 million versus the banks are up to 250,000. So you got 1 million sitting in the bank. They only insure FDIC insured up to 250,000. So where else can you have your money? Having them in brokerage accounts is another place that's insured past the 250,000, right? You may have your stuff sitting in an insurance policy or something of that nature. But again, having that protection and understanding how money flows and how money works is what we're talking about here. So that's why I brought this up, right? All right, so let's go. Um, let's look at the ones that are Let me see if they got the list on here. Okay, yeah, here's the list. All right, let's start off with I didn't read all of this up here. But let's start off with here. Um it says this data, let me go back up. We listed 20 banks with the most commercial real estate loans as of the first quarter of 2023, right? So, and this came out in July, I believe. Wells Fargo, JP Chase Morgan, Bank of America, and people been talking about Bank of America real bad, and Bank of America has been doing some crazy stuff here lately. Go look at the latest news on Bank of America. Keep y'all eye out on Bank of America. Truist Financial, US Bank Corp, New York New York Community Bank Corp, PNC Financial Services, M&T Bank, First Republic Bank, Citizens Financial Group, Valley Bank Corp, First Citizens Bank Shares, Cap One, TD Bank, BMO Financial Corporation, Citigroup, a lot of them out of New York, Zions Bank Corporation, RBC out of Toronto, First Horizon, and there's plenty more. It's 20 of them, right? Here we could see the rest. Is it pronounced Savoys, Synovoice, right? And First Horizon Corporation. And the reason why I'm mentioning these things is because one, these are the people that do commercial lending, all right? And the other thing is these are also places that are have a huge portfolio of commercial real estate. Now you can go and look up the list of what they got and what they have and who's invested in them and so forth and so on. Go look and see who's invested in these companies and where they got their investments at. Right? All right. Next thing up. Now this gets into a little juice. I'm gonna move this over to here because this is a little that's a little juicy. Right? CVS had job cuts, 5,000 jobs amid a layoff wave expanding beyond tech. Here's the full list of U.S. Companies slashing staff this year. This came out August the 1st. So CVS did 5,000. And then they got another list down here. Let me see. You can go follow everything on layoffs FYI, just like levels FYI. You can go to layoffs FYI. So we got 5,000 at CVS. Binance had 1,000. Um, I don't know who Neonatic is. I guess they do the Pokemon stuff. 230 jobs. Robinhood did 7%, and there's plenty more. Four is anticipated layoffs. Ford is anticipating layoffs. We just saw Yellow Trucking Company, 30,000 people gone, including their pensions. Including their pensions. 30,000 people gone, including their pensions. And that guy had been working there for 30 years. Sonos, 70% of their workforce, 7%. Grubhub, 400 jobs. Spotify, 2%. And the list goes on. JP Chase Morgan, 500. Why am I telling you this? Is because you need to be that Swiss Army knife so you can jump ship whenever you feel like it and you can go into any industry whenever you feel like it. Some people gonna tell you be the subject matter expert. That's not my thing. I could be a subject matter expert in certain things, but that Swiss Army knife has allowed me to be like, oh, so you ain't dealing with me? Okay, well, I'm gonna go over here and do this. It has allowed me to move in and out of lanes when I feel like it. Not because somebody dictates what my skill set is, because I'm a subject matter expert, I can only be in this lane. Now I can go like a sprinkler. Right? All right, let's go. Time for some petty T stuff. Let me see. Do I want to do that one? Oh, let's talk about this and then we'll get into petty T stuff. The rest of this is petty T. 3,300 employees, 3,300 employees of an oil trading firm, and I talked about this before, each received almost $800,000 last year. 3,300 employees of this oil trading firm each made almost $800,000 last year, right? Yeah, no insurance company layoff. All right, commodity and energy trader Vital Group made a net profit of $15.1 billion in 2022. Its 3,300 employees were paid an average of $785,000, nearly double the sum for the previous year. The salary and bonus figures dwarfs the average earnings of staff at big Wall Street banks. Right? It says Vital staff 3,311 staff each earned an average of 785 in salary and bonuses, up from 394,000 in 2022. Their pay vastly outstrips the average compensation of Wall Street banks, where they pay on the average of 312 and 280 respectively, right? So they had big profits. Do y'all know what Vital is the world's largest independent oil trader, and its key executives are based in London in a Financial Times. So, what would you do if you were me? I will go look them up. And careers. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. 55 years in the making. They got to talk about entrepreneurship and different roles. So they got a Python developer. That's out of London. They got a developer of PSQL out of Switzerland. And let me look at vacancies. Let me look at see there in Canada, Indonesia, the Netherlands, Switzerland, Singapore, United Kingdom, United States. Let's look at United States. They got a senior system IT administrator in um Houston. In Houston. They're looking for an IT person in Houston. The IT administrator will be located in Houston, Texas, and will report to the system team leader based in Switzerland. Right? They're looking for a Windows, Azure, VMware person, some stuff. They got some stuff on Prem. Yep. They got some NetApp storage, some Veeam. Right? Here we go. Right? That's what I would be looking at. I be looking at how can I get in that group. I want to get a bonus. I want a bonus on average of 785,000. You don't want to be a part of that group? Okay. Well, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you talking. All right. All right, let's go. Jared Epstein withdrew up to $80,000 in cash several times a month while he paid girls for massages, according to court filings. We finna be messy this day. I'm telling you, Foolish Finance Friday is about to be messy. We about to be all the way messy. I'm telling you. Right? He frequently withdrew tens of thousands of dollars in cash from his JP Morgan accounts. At the time, there were reports that he paid cash to girls for massages, a code word for sex. When asked about large withdrawals, Epstein said he needed to pay for jet fuel. I won't go dive into this. I'm just telling you that this investigation and things that are coming out about this investigation is going to be uncovered. And I would not be surprised if more and more come out. I'm just not surprised about this. Right? Just stay tuned because people are going to create a paper trail and they're going to show where that paper trail of that money. A chunk of those funds of that $630 million was used to pay over 100 women who he sexually abused before his death. Right? Here is a file, a 45-page summary judgment and a 148-page statement of fact that was agreed upon by the government and the bank and all the people that's tied to it. All the people that's tied to it. Here's even any juicier. Let's go. Let's talk about Sam Bankman Fried. He's paying his defense lawyers with $10 million of misappropriated FTX funds. So are those funds gonna get seized by the government from them lawyers? Because that's how he's paying them. He's paying them with misappropriated funds. Now that's not so bad. That's juicy, but that's not really the juice. Here's the juice. This headline: Caroline Ellison, who was Sam Bankman Fried's girlfriend, reveals her feelings about working with her ex boyfriend in a Google Doc that the lawyers uncovered. And let's talk about that because you know they were having wild parties and orgies over there on the island, right? It says she wrote a Google Doc about her feelings uh, out or her death of Alameda. The doc revealed her difficult feelings about working with ex Sam Bankman Fried. The trading firm felt too associated with you in a way that was painful, she wrote, right? All right, so let's get into it. All right, blow it up a little bit. Have y'all been following this FTX case at all? I hope you have, because I think he's gonna walk away. I think he's gonna get off, and that's billions. I think he's gonna get off. All right, Caroline Anderson, who once helmed Alameda Research as its co-CEO, grappled with the difficult feelings working at the trading firm of ex-boyfriend Sam Bankman-Fried. She said in a newly uncovered trove of her writings, the New York Times reported. Her writing surfaced in the Google Docs tied to the legal case surrounding some of the main figures in the FTX saga. Ellison wrote to Bankman Fried in one of the notes that Alameda felt too associated with you in a way that was painful. The New York Times reported it's not clear if Ellison actually sent letters to him. She wrote a sense of being out of her depth in her work environment and about her relationship with the FTX founder known as SBF coloring the experience, the Times reported, citing her entries from 2022. That was her boyfriend. Just two geeks together, just try geeking out. In one, Ellison vented that Bankman Fried's presence made her want to shrink and become smaller and quieter and defer to others. She also wrote that the work experience wore on her to the point at the end of the day, I can't wait to go home and turn my phone off and have a drink and get away from it all. The Google Doc entries are some of the records that lawyers involved in the case have been sharing among themselves. Now, your ex boyfriend has been out here doing whatever. And no, she is not. She is not. She is not a victim. And now she's coming out with how she was feeling during the whole time. You see him running off with other women. You know what's going on with the money at the same time, but you wrapped up in it because if you go down, he go down. If he go down, you go down. It's a mess, right? It said, and I'm gonna read those notes. The Google Doc entries are some of the records that lawyers involved in the case have been sharing among themselves. The Times reported, citing sources familiar with the matter and the documents the publication said it reviewed. The Times didn't specify which lawyer has been sharing the files. She pled guilty to charges stemming from federal investigation of FTX. A representative of the U.S. Attorney Office in the Southern District Court and an attorney in Ellison's did not respond to email requests and so forth, right? And I want to go read those notes because they got her whole journal or notes out there posted on, like, from when they broke up and the sex, the whole nine. It's all out there on display. Now, a reason why I brought this up is because anytime there's anything going on such as these nature, the woman is always, to me, is always exposed as not necessarily the victim, but what role did their relationship play? It's always put on display. His role is put on display as he's a bad guy. He ruined millions, this, that, and the other. But in her role is she ruined she ruined people's life and had a sexual encounter with this guy. So her character and who she is always placed in judgment. That's how I'm looking at it, right? That's how I'm looking at it. Because it's funny they got all her stuff out here. I'm sure there's stuff that he responded to. I don't see none of that out there, right? Right. So that's that one. All right. So now let's go. I'll say this one. I dropped this probably in the chat because I don't feel like taking off my headphones and turning it up. But it says this six-figure employee lives like she's broke in New York. I'll drop this inside the chat, inside of the Slack group. All right. I fell victim to the easiest banking scam in the world, and $20,000 was stolen from my account. How could I have been such a fool? All right, let's get into it. I was afraid to tell people what happened because I knew they would chastise me or laugh. So I'm writing you. Why would you write him? Why would you write Quentin? For the whole world to talk about it? Oh, okay, let's go. I don't know if any of your readers had similar experiences, but here goes. I received a call from my bank, Citibank, and was told that I had been victim of an online fraud. Except it wasn't Citibank. It was late on a Sunday evening, and I was tired and getting ready for bed. And the caller asked me if I had recently used an ATM, and I said I had recently been to Paris and used an ATM. That looked suspect, but I was in dire need of cash. I put my PIN number in and withdrew 220 euros, right? Or $220 or 200 euros. The customer service representative was very nice and told me always to be careful about using ATMs. He said that in order to help me and verify my identity, he was going to send me a code, which I read out to him over the phone. He then sent me two more codes, one for purportedly fraudulent transaction. As I was speaking to the bank, $10,000 was withdrawn from my account, and another 10,000 was taken out within minutes. All right, here we go. I checked my mobile app, and I was speaking to the bank. I was speaking to the bank, double quote, right? $10,000 was withdrawn from my account, and another 10,000 was taken out within minutes. I was so confused and scared. He asked me for my last four digits of my social security number, and 5 minutes later, he asked for the first five digits. Hey, all right. By this point, I knew something was wrong, but I still gave them to him. My heart was racing and I was in a panic. Moments after he hung up, I got another call from, you probably guessed this, Citibank. They said there was suspicious activity on my account and asked if I had made two transactions of $10,000. And I said I had set up a separate account online. I freaked out. The weirdest part is that halfway through the first call, I felt something was wrong, but I still did what the caller told me. What the hell? I was down $20,000 in 10 minutes. I feel like such a fool. I was incredibly upset that I would fall for such an obvious scam, especially as I've always warned people about scams and was actually annoyed with my mother a couple of years ago, who was allowing a cold caller to access her computer, then lock it and blackmail her for money. which she never gave him. I was afraid to tell people what happened because I knew they would chastise me or laugh, so I'm writing you. Update. 2 days later, after sending you my original email, the money was back in my account. The bank had taken care of it. I'm surprised they took care of it. I'm surprised they took care because she willingly gave that, right? I was so relieved and thankful that the bank, that Citibank was able to address this issue and fix it. But I felt to alert you and your readers to this. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. It's the easiest banking scam in the world. How can someone who is supposedly intelligent and aware of these issues fall victim to such a scam? Right? Dear feeling, scammers are looking for one window of opportunity. The key word in your letter is scared, panic, and tired. When we're in a state of high anxiety, our logic and reasoning are more likely to become impaired. That's why scammers emerge from their swamp and target people who are experiencing a crisis in the aftermath, for example, a natural disaster. It's why they call you at night when you're tired or try to catch you when you're distracted at work. This study from Journal of Neuroscience concluded a detrimental aspect of anxiety is the disruption of prefrontal cortex, meditated executive functions, and such as flexible decision making. Now, the one thing we all know is not we giving out your social security number over the phone. You're supposed to run through them security questions, maybe your address, maybe some other stuff to verify. I'm surprised. I know now they start sending out. They'll send you a number, and you gotta read the a code. They send you a code, and then you gotta read that code to them for verification and so forth. Right. So be careful with that. And that's why a lot of people are telling y'all to not give out your phone numbers and stuff, right? Right? All right, let's go. Elderly couple ripped off my daughter takes a $400,000 tax hit on stolen $2 million. The daughter hit them up for 2 million dollars, and they got a tax bill for 400,000. Y'all out here stealing from the elderly. Mm, let's go. A federal judge has blocked a more than 400,000 income tax refund claim by elderly fraud victims, saying he regrets there's nothing he can do by law but side with the IRS. The story of Dennis and Susan Gomez shows the limits of the tax code help for crime victims, especially now, the judge and tax experts say. The Florida retirees were scammed out of nearly $2 million by their daughter, who is now convicted of felony charges, including theft. She is serving 25 years prison sentence. Y'all out here stealing from your parents. Mm. One deduction that could have helped recoup some of the nest egg money was off limits through through 2025. The other ways to treat the lost IRA pension money didn't fit with the tax rules, Tampa federal judge Tom Barber said in his decision this week. The fact these elderly plaintiffs are required to pay taxes on monies that were stolen from them is unjust. Still, the judge later added he was bound to follow the law, whereas as here the outcome seems unjust. It's just an unfortunate outcome. We certainly are planning to appeal, said the attorney Tyler DeWitt, who represents the couples in their late 70s, right? Undisputed and disturbing. Suzanne Anderson's plot to extract money from her mother, her stepfather, and their friends included a cooked up scheme to pay for a lawyer and fake claims of cancer, according to the court papers. The facts of the case are undisputed and disturbing. When the Gomez's retired in 2016, they turned over their raw pet food business to Anderson. Roughly year later, she pursued the couple into thinking former employees had been misusing the business credit card processing account to scam customers. Anderson said Gomez's needed to hire an attorney to avoid legal trouble and Dennis Gomez's potential arrest. She suggested a name, and the couple sent her nearly $140,000 to hire the man. But the couple never met or communicated with the lawyer because Anderson was always the go-between. At one point, she created a bogus email address to pose as the lawyer. In her scheme, Anderson repeatedly hit the couple up for money that would supposedly settle the legal problems and stave off Mr. Gomez's arrest. She also told them she needed money for her stomach cancer treatments in court papers. The couple's friends eventually reached out to the supposedly retained lawyer. The lawyer confirmed he wasn't representing Anderson or the Gomez's. Anderson was pocketing the money instead, according to the court. The friends told Gomez's in 2019 that Anderson was conning them. Anderson had ripped off some of the friends and others for more than $200,000. The Hernando County Police opened up an investigation the same day in January of 2021. Anderson was arrested. Anderson pleaded guilty for more than a year later and was sentenced in last September. Deduction on theft losses. There was a time when taxpayers like the Gomez's could have claimed theft loss deduction on personal property. The amount of theft loss that exceeded 10% of the filer's adjusted gross income was deductible. But in 2017, the Tax and Jobs Act greatly narrowed the theft loss deduction through 2025, as well as other itemized deductions. It also claimed that casualty loss would be eligible only when connected to federally declared disasters. So they ain't getting that money back. If it's a if it's personal money, if it's personal money and it's stolen, it's just gone, said Charlene Luke, a tax lawyer of University of Florida, Levine College of Law, who has studied the theft and casualty loss deduction. It's treated the way as any form of consumption, which is highly problematic. So they lost that money. They lost $2 million. $2 million, right? It said the updated return said the couple was due to refund $412,000 plus interest they wanted to deduct from their income of 1.7 million they received from the IRA and pensions. The IRS disallowed the refund claim, saying the IRA and pension distributions were not deductible. The federal lawsuit came next. The Gomez's weren't trying to claim a theft loss deduction in the amended return. The IRA and the pension distributions were deductible for two reasons, his client said. So the girl, she screwed them over. It says people reported more than 50,000 government imposter scams and 128 million in losses in the first quarter. So don't be out here scamming your mama. All right, here we go. We're 57. Our work is unpleasant and tiresome. We have $800,000 in our 401k and 1.5 million in the pension. Can they retire? Put a one in the chat if you think they can retire. They're 57. So they may live another 20 years. So approximately they got about 2.23 million, 1.23 million. Is that how we looking at that? Or maybe 1.9. I think it's 1.9. Roughly about 2 million. So can they retire? D, what are your thoughts? Code and Evelyn gives it a 2. D says no. Anybody else? Can they retire? They 57. Got 20 more years. Right? My wife and I are both 57. We had planned on working well into our 60s, but the past few years, COVID and changes at work have us both considering retiring in 3 years when we're 60. And they're not gonna be. I guess they will have to wait to max out their full, not the 401k, but their insurance. I mean their Social Security. We could work longer, but our work has become unpleasant and tiresome. The house and the cars will be paid off. However, our daughter, who we had later in life, will only be 13. We currently have about $60,000 saved up for college, but would like to have more. My retirement income will be about $60,000 from a government pension, and I have 160,000 in my 401k. My wife has about 650,000 in her 401k, which has fared poorly in the last few years. I'm entitled to about 25,000 per year from Social Security, so he'll be at 85,000, and my wife is 30,000 per year. But we know it's the federal government would pay. But who knows if the federal government would pay what is promised. Estimates of how much you should have saved retire wildly. My pension is around about 1.15 million. And but depends on how I live. Once the house is paid off, our expenses will be running about 3,000 a month, excluding hobbies and travel. I have inexpensive hobbies, but my wife likes to travel, which gets pricey. The other big variable is health insurance. We're relatively healthy, but we don't qualify for Medicare until we get to 63. So they won't have any insurance for the next 3 to 4 years unless they pay for it. All right. So y'all say no. Kids cost. All right. I can't tell I can't tell you if you're safe to retire or not. That's a job for a qualified financial planner who can look over your information and have one-on-one conversation with you. I can, however, point you toward a few resources and give you a couple of thoughts to consider. You've saved a lot. Your pension is definitely a plus, but you may still want to proceed with caution. You've already pointed out one major expense after you retire, healthcare, and you have that alone. I think it's 225,000 per person for retirement with healthcare, right? And that alone could have you spending down much more of your retirement assets than you like until you reach Medicare age. By that age, 65, not 63, they 57. So 57 to 65 is a long time. So that means two more. That means 2 years more than you have anticipated. A 65 over retiring 2023 can expect 157,000 on medical expenses in retirement, and a couple can expect 315,000. Right, 315,000 as a couple. Healthcare coverage from the marketplace, which is where you may turn in the way you may turn if you and your wife retire early. Depends on where you live and the type of plan you choose. The cost varies. For example, an early retiree can spend an average of roughly about 1,100 for monthly premiums in silver, right? And or spend 1,300 on monthly premiums in platinum on a platinum plan. And this is what goes back into I talk about your insurance later on in life. That's why you're gonna have to make as much money as you can. So you because I mean things are gonna change. Like we don't know what insurance plans are gonna be available, but we do know they're gonna be expensive. How many of you want to be put in a home? Y'all want to be put in a nursing home? D, I'm putting you in a nursing home. Putting D in a nursing home, right? It says premiums in a platinum plan with an average of 319 deductible and 3,500 out of pocket maximum. Right. I know you said you were relatively healthy, but you may want to strike a balance between premiums and deductibles if you have regular checkups. Right. And it says there's no one answer that when it comes to how much you need to save for retirement. No one can really know for sure. Right. And he goes a little bit more in depth in this. It's a long article, but I wanted to pull this out. One of the reasons why I wanted to pull this out is because they're married and they have approximately about $2 million saved up for retirement, but they're 57. So they may have they may need to work a little longer. They may need to work 5 more years, right? And so the question I ask to you is, how much longer are you going to continue to work? And what is going to be your peak time for working? You need to maximize the amount of money you can make in your peak time while your mind is fresh. You don't want to be 75 years old, worried about your 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 nursing and so forth, right? Or in-home care or what have you, right? Go to Evelyn. She not gonna fight me for putting her in the nursing home. She gonna fight the nurse. She gonna fight the nurse. I'm gonna come see her though. I'm gonna come see her. I'm gonna come see her. Bring her some tea, some ginger, some turmeric. Do some walks with her. She gonna be all right. Is she gonna break out? She might. She might break out. She might fight. She may go disappear. Tell my girl, I had to break out of there. Yeah, we talking about you, D. In the nursing home. I told you I'm putting you in. I told him I'm putting you in the nursing home. You the only D here. She, I don't know who she thought we was talking about, Evelyn. She the only one here. All right, my sibling borrows hundreds of thousands of dollars from my parents. Should I take my inheritance now before it's too late? Yeah, that was the last one. Now I got some juicy ones, but I think they for after hours. I think they for after hours. Lux Health Residence. No, we're gonna put you in the nursing home in Pensacola, Florida, or no, Mobile, Alabama. All right, let's go. One of my siblings has been having cash flow issues and has been asking for help from my family. The sibling lives at home, has no college degree, and has abused other family members' credit by opening up credit cards, resulting in late fees and interest and borrowing money without repaying it. Once a family member has berated, once a family member was berated for asking for their money back. Once in a while, they would ask money to buy cryptocurrencies or invest in a business, and later claimed that the business was not successful. Our parents have given hundreds of thousands of dollars over the past decade. What would you do? I'm doing fine, working a full time job, and I understand that's our parents' money. That's our parents' money belongs to them, and they decide how to spend it. However, I'm fearful one day when I need help, our family funds will all be spent helping this sibling. Should I ask for the money now before it runs out? Should they ask for the money now? Mm, let's go. The call from the scammer in this case is coming from inside the house. The best thing you can do now is make sure you are everything this sibling is not. Financially independent, honest, kind, and upfront. Help yourself by making sure that you'll never have to rely on your parents' inheritance. Help your siblings by no longer enabling them, and help your parents by holding a family meeting to talk about being badgered, berated, and bewildered by the family member. Do not normalize this behavior. Your family should not be taken hostage financially or emotionally by one sibling. It's time to cut them off. Your siblings appear to see dollar signs at the bottom of your parents' teacups. Do not do the same and allow this to lead to a free for all where all your siblings tap your mother and father for money. Your parents' financial security and safety come first. Help them organize their estate plan with an attorney. If necessary, set up a family trust to put the rest of their money of the family money beyond the reach of the sibling. I am assuming the amounts to at least hundreds of $1,000. No more enabling. The word no gets easier the more you say it. Now, a warning. Mm. The fear of reprisal for not agreeing to your siblings' demand raises a flag. Undue influence, duress, and pressure on an individual who has lack of capacity could constitute elder abuse. Ooh. The National Center for Elder Abuse, a government agency affiliated with U.S. Administration on Aging and nonprofit National Adult Protective Services, both have resources that can help with the steps you can take to report an alleged abuse. First is a favor here and a favor there. Next is clothing, jewelry, and expensive works. So this is an approach that some of you all could take that have siblings that's just constantly taken from the parent. You can you could go down the route of elder abuse. You can go down the route of elder abuse. Knowing the laws and how to protect again those assets. That's what I started out with, right? Given the amount of money involved, this could get worse before it gets better. Elder abuse affects an estimated 5 million Americans annually, according to the National Council of Aging. The multiple agents say the number is increasing and underreported. Your family could be under some kind kind of undue influence or duress. The fact that it's been going on for so long, including stolen credit card information, which really should be reported to the police, is concerning. If your credit has been compromised, contact the credit bureaus to lock it. As your parents age, they will become even more vulnerable. When a person is isolated by a partner or an adult, friend, neighbor, or caregiver, the results can be catastrophic to a person's health. Undue influence is a psychological process that may be used against an elder person as a means of committing two forms of elder abuse: financial exploitation or sexual abuse. According to the National Center of Law Elder, the worst thing that can happen is that this kind of bullying and harassment is allowed to continue. The longer this is allowed to continue, the worse the situation will be. So elder abuse. And this is also something as you all get older need to start thinking about too, with your mothers and your fathers and even your own self, so that you don't have elder abuse on yourself or somebody abuses you, setting up your trust and protections and who's going to take care of you, who has the right to, you know, oversee your actual estate. You all may want to do that as well too, right? Elder abuse. And it doesn't have to wait till you get older either. It could be something that happens to you in a car wreck or accident or something of that nature, or something overtakes you, right? You didn't know something was hidden. These type of things you need to discuss with your significant other, with your family and so forth, right? You need to do that. Now, do I have juicy ones? Yes, I do. I'm not gonna do them tonight. I can. I can do them, but you know how it goes with your folks over here at over here. These folks over here. You know how they go, right? But he got some good ones this week. Um, should I move on? Left my toxic boyfriend. Again, I'll go back and find that one where the person was stealing $60,000 a year and was giving it to his girlfriend, and ended up wanting a divorce. And me and D was listening to one. I guess we can listen to that one, D. Hold on, let me pull that one up. We listened to it this morning. We listened to it this morning. Let me see. It's not Dr. John. Hold on. It's not Dr. John. Let me look for it. Let me look for it. This one. This one here. I give you a summary of it. All right. All right. My wife is about to find out about my affair. Let me give you a summary of it. He's been cheating on his wife for 6 years. Um, and he's been cheating on his wife for 6 years. And I think, oh yeah, he's been cheating on his wife for 6 years with this woman who was married. The woman's husband found out that she was cheating and was gonna tell his wife. Well, fast forward to the story, he was trying to figure out how he was gonna tell her over the weekend, this, that, and the other. So he eventually does some sniffing himself and finds out that his wife uh was having an affair. And he told his wife about his affair, and she said, I've been knowing that. But he told his wife about her affair. He's like, I know you've been having an affair. She's like, I know you've been having one too for the past 6 years. And so then he proceeds to tell her, he's like, but I he's like, he was like, but he's like, but I don't love her. I can separate love from me just having sex with her. And she was like, but I love him. And I want a divorce. And we want to be together. And so he gets in a hissy fit and was like, wait a minute, you want to leave me? You don't want to stay with me? I could. He's like, I adore my wife. I love my wife. I don't want to leave you for her. And she was like, well, I want to leave you for him. It had only been going on for 6 months. He's been seeing this woman for 6 years. It's a juicy story. It is on Reddit. Um, again, like I say, we got some stories. There's a ton of stories on Reddit. There's a lot of finance stories on Reddit as well too, to take a look at. Um, and it's a lot of things that a lot of people have done, have stolen money from family members, have stolen money from friends, credit cards, the whole nine. Yeah, once upon a time and the end. Yeah. And yeah, but here's the thing though. Um in these situations, right? He's been cheating on her for 6 years. Now the question is, who's the breadwinner in the family? Um, will she ask for alimony? Do they have kids? Um, do they have to split the house? Um, does she have proof of his adultery? What state are they in? Um, just a slew of questions that will have to be asked and will be asked in divorce court. Do So it's just one of these things that if you're gonna cheat, think about the consequences of the cheat. It's not necessarily the consequences of the mistrust, but it's the consequences of if that person is like, I want a divorce. I want a divorce, right? And what do you have in place, right? You all say it's cheaper to keep her, but that may come with a cost. That may come with a cost, right? So that's it for today. I know. I know. We gotta go. I know, I can go on, but at the same token, I wanted to give you these little tidbits on high performers, 1%, 2%, 3%, 5%. What does that look like? How can you become a high performer? What are the tools that you can use and you can implement? Work life balance. If you don't believe in that, cool. If you do, cool. And on top of that, how can you also make others around you when you're becoming that high performer? How can you make them better? How can you make the team better? And or just your friends that are in your circle, how can you all be better? All right. Congratulations to all those that came to the meetup this week. I heard it was 2.5 hours. I heard y'all was talking back and forth. I can't never get y'all to talk. Mm. It be crickets. Mm. See how you see how they do you? You see how they do you? D ain't nobody salty. I'm just saying why everybody want to talk when I'm not there. I'm glad you made it out, Crystal. D ain't nobody salty. We don't pay you no mind. I'm just surprised it went 2.5 hours. D be trying to kick you out. Oh, hell, I knew you was double agent. Double agent. You should have showed up. Listen to that. Huh. Heather, our love is over. It's over for our love. I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna put you on the D side. Eh, Thank you, Natasha. Ride or die. Run. That's right, Natasha. Ride or die. No, Tam, we missed you. Heather, you should have showed up. D, you call me a hater all the time anyway. What's the difference? What's the difference? What's the difference, D? We'll see what happens. Oh, drinking haterade. Oh, now you're getting just downright nasty, but it's in you. Nasty, it's in you. Nasty is in you, D. It's in you, D. Well, that's all the time we have from Haterville, USA, Salt Lake City. See y'all on probably Wednesday. Let D keep putting these salt emojis in here. We ain't gonna pay her no mind, cause we know the truth. We know you're a double agent. Tam,